Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about, as it happens, Chuck Norris. No, well, actually, I want to talk about Chuck Norris, but I run a channel on Dungeons and Dragons, so that's not the topic for today. As it happens, we are talking about the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party of all time. Who is it? Who are they? Where are they? Essentially, that's the topic for today. This is a topic that has hardly been seen on YouTube. You almost never see a topic like this on YouTube ever. So what is the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party for the game? Now, I've put up the Wizard of Oz. The only problem with the Wizard of Oz is that really Dorothy does all the heavy lifting. I don't think that anybody else is doing any heavy lifting, but Dorothy is definitely doing most of the heavy lifting in this case. And as a result of that, I would say problematic. I think the rest are just cute, but Dorothy's good. Okay, next one. What about the Robin Hood and his merry men? Only problem is with this one, I was thinking, well, hang on, is this a fictional Dungeons and Dragons-y kind of group? Or are they actually real and based off mythology and legends that might actually be based in reality? And I was really struggling with this one. In the end, I decided that this particular group is actually completely unbalanced, although I suppose you could consider Friar Tuck a cleric of some kind, but in this case I decided not really. So I've taken Robin Hood and his merry men off the list. So let's go to the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon party. In fact, I'm wondering, did I not put this particular group on the absolute worst Dungeons and Dragons party of all time? I think I might have done that. Maybe I've got my stuff mixed up. The only problem too with the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon party is, did they ever get home? I don't think they did. Did they ever defeat Tiamat or Venger? I don't think that ever happened either. So problematic, and I'm going to say, not really. We'll leave that one alone, shall we? Okay, now here is where it starts to get really, really tricky. I was very tempted to put up the Fellowship of the Ring, and then I decided, no, just give me a break. That's like too dysfunctional. What about this selection of individuals? The Avengers. That's just way too easy and panders to the current world craze. So I've decided to leave all of those individuals off my list for the absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party. I've decided to instead select individuals who I think stand out amongst the rest and would be formed into one of probably the best Dungeons and Dragons groups of all time. So here it is. Now, this list is going to consist of, let's say, I'm going to stick to fictional characters who I feel that the Dungeon Master would not ban from their game in some way. If they are bannable, problematic, can't really play them, so we'll leave that stuff alone. So we're not going to go OP if we can help it. I'm going to stick to 6 awesome characters, only 6. Now, the list that I'm giving is not necessarily in the order of importance. That was a stipulation that I was given when I was making this video, that I could not put them into a specific order as if they are the absolute best, kind of. Anyway, the first one I will talk about is Batman. Well, it's got to be Batman because it's Batman. It's Batman. He's smarter than a whip. Let's get real. He is. He's smarter than a whip. He has unlimited resources, unless, of course, he's in a Nolan movie. Then he may not have unlimited resources, particularly near the end of his career. He has like super awesome, very, very cool toys, cars, planes, and various other items that you just sort of think, oh, it's hard not to salivate when you think about all the stuff that he has available. He works well in a group, surprisingly, but also works well alone. So you don't have to worry about him going and splitting from the party and then getting himself killed, because the chances are that's not really going to happen. And he probably won't need saving either. So, good to have around. Able to defeat Superman. Able to defeat Superman. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. And just don't say the word Martha. Next on our list of the most impressive individuals for a Dungeons and Dragons group has got to be Dorothy Gale. Cute and lovely. Can make friends with literally anything and anyone, just about. Killed 2 witches with mundane buildings and water. Can in fact turn dirty water into a bucket of acid. So let's get real. When the first witch was destroyed, chances are it was just dumb luck. The house fell on top of her. But let's get real. The second time round, I can't imagine that a witch leaves a bucket of acid lying around so that somebody could pick it up and throw it at somebody else. So I don't think that's likely. I think that was just a bucket of dirty water, and by sheer will, Dorothy turned that bucket of dirty water into acid that disintegrated or melted down the witch. So this is the sort of individual who you play as a one-shot evil killer that nobody ever expects. Who would have ever expected that a little girl could just walk up with a little dog and a basket and then find something around the house and you're all over? But she can, as it happens. Okay, number 3 is Captain America. Well, it's got to be Captain America. Somewhere there had to be Captain America, the ultimate soldier, a fantastic leader that reduces foul language and swearing and improves manners within a group, which is always a good thing. Keeps ticking even when he's hurt, and his super healing is so good that it doesn't actually remove the blood. So even though he's still going and his super healing is working really fast, the blood is not removed. So it feels far more realistic compared to some of the other things we've seen before. He can fight off some of the toughest individuals in the galaxy or universe. Thanos. That's right, he's tackled Thanos before. He has impressive shield throwing and bashing techniques and skills never before seen or achieved by anybody else. And if somebody says they can, I think they are just lying. A great team support. The sort of person that when you get into a hard time, you can have a bit of a cry on his shoulder and he'll totally understand. Number 4, Mary Poppins. Everybody loves Mary Poppins. Just needs a spoonful of sugar for the medicine to go down, and you're never going to get sick or injured again because she just doesn't allow that to happen. Now, is that from sheer will, or is that from some sort of strange and undefined magic? We do not know. She's got a bag that holds literally everything. Now, when you start thinking about bags of holding, her bag's much larger than that, because I don't think there's actually a limit to how much she can stick in that thing, or even a limit to the size of the thing that can come out of the bag itself. So, far more useful than any bag of holding you might ever come across. Magic that brings the family together. And let's get real, a Dungeons and Dragons party is just another family. Can shift the very fabric of time and the world around. And how does she do that? With magic. And a single word that, for the life of me, I'm not sure I can even say it. You know the word, the expedaliosis thing. Yeah, that word. If you can get that thing to come out of your mouth, well done. But she uses that well, and she can do pretty much anything. Okay, number 5 has got to be Hermione Granger. What can't she ever remember in terms of magic, lore, or information history? What information can she not find if she can't remember it? What spell is there that she has never actually been able to cast? She can cast any spell. And let's get real. When they made the Harry Potter movie series, really, should have been called her movie series. It should have been Hermione Granger and the Chamber of Secrets, followed by a lot of Harry Potter names removed, because honestly, the real hero in the whole franchise was Hermione Granger. She's battled monsters and wizards. She's figured out just about everything that the boys got lost on, which was most of the stuff that they ever came across to begin with and at the end. Number 6. Now, I couldn't leave him off. He's been one of my favourites for years, and that is Macgyver. the nicest guy you could possibly ever meet. Smarter than his actor, able to use a paperclip, duct tape to fix absolutely anything and everything. Everybody actually survives when they are with him, which is always nice. Able to create and notice traps with ease. So if you want to create a trap, he's the guy for you. You want to be able to detect a trap and disable it, he can do that. Can build literally anything with household items and stuff. And that's the sort of thing you want on your party if you are playing Dungeons and Dragons. So that is my ultimate list. Well, actually it's not. There is in fact one other individual that I have to add to this list. I know I said I was going to have 6, but number 7 is Chuck Norris. Now, I did explain to Chuck Norris that he was not a fictional character, that he was OP and overpowered, that in fact he couldn't be on this list. He then explained to me that if there is a list of any individuals that has the word absolute best, or there is a list that he decides he should be on, through the very nature of the fabric of time that he has actually created and the universe, he should be on that list. I did try to explain, spent a lot of time explaining that wasn't actually the case, and I couldn't do that. In the end, we had a very short, aggressive negotiations, and he's on the list, and you have no idea how long it took me to explain to him that being at the end of a list is not a bad thing. In fact, that the best individual within a group should always be stated last, because he really wanted to go into the Batman slot and be discussed first. But we got through it, which is good news. Now, some honourable mentions that did not make the list, and that is Superman. Let's get real. What Dungeon Master is going to allow Superman at the table? And he's OP, and has there ever really been any need for Superman to have anybody help him? Honestly, I don't think he needs a party members with him, so I've left him off the list. What about Aragorn? Aragorn. Well, the problem with Aragorn is that he's done plenty of things. He's certainly more capable than anybody else in his franchise, but unfortunately I've left him off the list because he was not able to rectify some of the leadership issues that occurred within the Fellowship of the Ring. The Fellowship fell apart pretty quickly, and let's get real, he did not help that situation in the slightest. So he's not on the list. What about Alice in Wonderland? Now, she killed the Jabberwocky. She pretty much brought the Red Queen down. She has been able to achieve many different things. She survived falling down a rabbit hole, but I left her off the list because recently she fell down a badger hole, and we haven't seen her since. And so we figure at this point she's gone on a bad trip, and I've taken her off the list in this case. There are, of course, a lot of individuals or friends that she has still engaged in rehab as well. Okay, Conan. Here's the problem with Conan. He's atypical, he's tough, he's strong, but really he doesn't need anybody else to achieve anything. He certainly survived just about the most appalling things you can possibly imagine, but I didn't really feel like he was a team member, and he certainly felt like he was like a OP, because has there really ever been anything that Conan needed help with? There really never was anything whatsoever, so I've left Conan off the list here for today. Okay, what about Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange OP, because let's get real, when things go bad, he's just going to turn back time and win the day. So I don't think any Dungeon Master is going to allow that, even though, of course, he is the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. What about Ellen Ripley? Now, here's the thing. She's one badass, but kills aliens and monsters with no trouble. But has there ever been anybody who ever survived with her? I don't think there has. She has certainly survived, but none of her party members ever seem to survive past the first movie. They never seem to make it to the next one, if you ask me. All right, what about Neo from The Matrix? Again, the problem with Neo from The Matrix is that he is OP, he can fly, he can do pretty much everything. And yes, I've left him off the list. I am a fan of Neo from The Matrix, but he could not be on this list. It would not have been acceptable, I think. Now, I know a lot of people want me to add Robin Hood to this list, but again, the problem is I didn't feel like that Robin Hood was, strictly speaking, a fictional character and may well, in fact, be a real individual that has just been spoken about and turned into movies and books and so forth. So I felt like that was moving outside of the parameters. It would be like me putting Jesus Christ on the list as one of the greatest Dungeons and Dragons or best Dungeons and Dragons members to have in your game. So I can't be doing that sort of thing. That would be ridiculous. What about Wonder Woman? Who doesn't like Wonder Woman? She's good, she's strong, she's got a good heart, all those things, all the sorts of things you like. She does work well in a group. The only problem is that she doesn't really need the group. She can really pretty much do, just like Superman, pretty much deal with everything without too much trouble whatsoever. Okay, what about Indiana Jones? Indiana Jones. Well, here's the thing with Indiana Jones. He's an archaeologist. He is the greatest Tomb Raider there is. He's smart. He's strong. He's capable. He survived everything. But really, he's more of a loner. I don't feel like he's the sort of individual that really needs anybody else. He gets through most things without any trouble whatsoever. So didn't really feel like he was a team player. Last on my mentioned list, and that is Yoda. Now, Yoda, of course, infinite knowledge. Just amazing recall. One with the Force. One of the greatest Jedis ever. The only problem is that when Yoda shows up, I feel like this is the Dungeon Master deciding to create a PC for themselves to play with the other players, and it will just get really annoying as Yoda tells you what you should be doing in a cryptic and annoying way, removing all of the linking words, which, to be fair, are required to make things a little bit easier to understand. So, that is my absolute best Dungeons and Dragons party that I thought was the best individuals that filled what was required from a Dungeons and Dragons group. Now I have hundreds of videos for players and dungeon masters providing advice, tips, tricks and so forth that you're welcome to go and check out. If you want to support the channel so I keep doing videos like this, then make sure to join either Patreon, where you can support me there, get access to all of the live streams that go unlisted, and special content and priority on the videos that I make. I also have affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon down in the description, where you can buy stuff online and I get a small commission. I have a merchandise shelf below if you're interested in buying some merchandise. And keep rolling those 20s, because that's what you should be doing when you're watching my channel.